Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Evil Within Akumu difficulty, no upgrade, no keys, walkthrough. This is chapter 8, A Planted Seed Will Grow. So this mission is a little shorter than the ones we've been doing, and it's a little bit easier, but it's made more difficult by enemy placements that did not exist on previous difficulties. So we are fighting here the other subset of alter egos. These ones do the chest move that the other ones seemingly didn't do, and they do it a lot. What I can tell you is it doesn't seem to affect you when you're in the animation of turning the valve, the kind of pirate wheel thing, but when you come out of it you'll be instantly executed. And this is one of those areas where you think, why don't you just run, Chris? You'll get through this dead easy and, you know, you'll save your ammo. Well, Akumu mode has added enemies on corridors where it's very difficult to get around them, and even if you do get around them you have to twist a door, and in the room where you twist the door is two of these creatures. That's not speaking about the ones that will follow you into the room, which generally translates to you have to kill them in most cases. You may be able to get through, incredibly luckily, on one of those runs that just kind of makes sense. And these enemies take a beating too. Just imagine if I'd had some rifle ammo here, or if these barrels had rifle ammo. This would be a completely pointless and easy section of the game, but it isn't because I don't have rifle ammo. So, save your rifle ammo would probably be the biggest piece of advice I can give you, or get really creative. Because if you could somehow kite all of them together, stun one and set them on fire with a match, then you would do a fantastic job of doing this level. I couldn't manage to do that because I kept getting grabbed, so instead I'm just going to divide and conquer, and unfortunately it's going to take its toll on our resources, which is pretty much what Akumu mode does, and when we're not using the keys to get our ammunition back, it takes an even greater toll, and of course without upgrades, the ammunition that we do have isn't as effective as it would have been had it been upgraded. But that is the fun, and here comes our friend. So the place we have to go is through where those planks were across the entranceway. There is an alter ego just below it. So when you go to break them, he's going to start standing up, or he's going to start crawling actually. And I don't know if you can hit this dude with a match. I don't even know if I have matches. But the mission is super simple. It's really short. There's nothing to it. There's, I suppose you could say, 2 new enemies introduced. Because even though we've fought these guys before, we haven't seen them do this technique. So it looks like I'm going to be crafting a bolt because I literally don't have anything else. Ah, interesting. So this is an experimentation. You cannot do the execution move on that enemy. So because it didn't work, I decided to break this, and this is the new enemy placement. I know he's there, so instead I'm going to try and lure him into this room. And this is hilarious now. This AI on him, for some reason, he just walks that way. I don't know why. There's something really interesting over there that apparently I missed the memo for. But here he is. He will not exist unless you're on the harder difficulties, I believe. He definitely is not there on Survivor. And what I'm going to try and do is we're going to use ourselves as bait to get him away, and to get him to such a radius that he does not follow us back into the tunnel. Here comes the tentacle rape. The thing with this, I thought that maybe if you shoot that tentacle monster, it was a critical. So if you waited for him to spawn it and then you shot it with a shotgun, it would instantly murder that enemy. That is not the case. It would be really cool if it was, but it is not. So don't even bother. But there is the first room. We might be going back in it because in here there should be somebody else. Yeah, here we go. There's this dude. I'm going to beat this guy to death. It's going to be a very compelling reason to why you should never melee unless you've upgraded it or unless you have the knuckle dusters, because it just doesn't work. Oh, hang on a second, we got shotgun. I might not be beating him to death. No, I'm not. But just know I have in the past, and I might have to finish him off that way right now. But do you notice how this guy doesn't want to... Whoa! That was weird when it happened, and it was weird watching it back. Yeah, do you see how he's not doing a Rotsuki Doji mode? For some reason he does not want the Overfiend's semen. He just wants to stand around, and I'm going to keep hitting him with a crossbow and watch out for his Australian punch. His big ol' overhand right, or overhand left, sorry. And he's dead. Now we can open this in peace. such an interesting section. Like, if this was just a normal door, I think this level would be flawless. Because the rest of it you can skip, and it's one of those missions that if you know what you're doing, you can get through it quite intelligently. But if every single time they put this mechanism, it's essentially a fuck you to doing it quickly. It's what it is. It's, we don't want you to run past these enemies we've designed, so here's a door that you'll never get to open if any of them are still behind you. And it happens a lot in this game, and it happens a lot in other survival horror games too. It's just, I guess it's survival horror. You know, we ask for it, we get it, and sometimes it bites us in the ass. But this is a repeating trap that fires harpoons. I think you can pick them up, but I'm not going to waste time doing it. I don't think. Even though it's probably not wasted time. But I'm sure that there's a harpoon stuck in something. There's a little bit of foreshadowing. And then as we push up here, we're going to be introduced to another new enemy. So this enemy reminds me of the demons from a film called The Gate, which was this late 80s horror movie that terrified me as a child when my sister made me watch it. And it probably looks like dog shit now, but it scared me at the time. And these things here remind me of the little demons. What's going to happen is, if you've got a flashbang, you can kill these. It's just like Resident Evil 4 with anything that's, you know, kind of small and annoying. It blows them up, just like the crows. When you come over here, you trigger the spawn. So grab the ammo, and then run back this way. Excuse me. When you touch this, you trigger a second spawn. Or maybe the second spawn's already happened, yeah. It already happens over the first one. So if you back up, you aim the shot, wait for them to pool. Doesn't really matter as long as they're there. And there you go. Turns them into toilet paper. And then we can get out of here. And that is pretty much the end of this level, I think. Oh no, there's a couple more traversal moments with those creatures as well. And you can actually run over them and kill them. But it's one of those things where, do you want to keep on doing it until you get that one lucky run? If you're that conscious of saving ammunition, feel free to do it. But I'm trying my best to do strategies here that involve just kind of playing, rather than ones that involve relying on the bullshit capricious nature of AI and RNG. Like, the only section so far in this walkthrough where a strategy has been entirely reliant on bullshit is the beginning of Chapter 6. Because nobody can help you there, guys. You're either going to get it easily or it's going to be a nightmare. There's no middle ground. There can't be, because it's just too random. Everything else, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to guide you through. And if I'm not helping, you know, you don't have to use the guide. You can do your own stuff. You can look for other things. I'm sure there's plenty of Akumu mode walkthroughs at this moment in time that are being designed. Because as I checked on the search engine earlier, there was a couple of playthroughs that had happened. There was somebody who had posted a video of the last boss. I assume it's kind of like a show-off video to say he'd beat it or something. And then a couple of playthroughs of people on the first few chapters. So this is a difficulty you're going to see getting covered quite a lot because it's worth covering. This is an area we can run through, save a couple of that precious pistol ammo. I do hope the unlockable pistols are good, because this one isn't. And it sucks too, because I really like revolvers, which is why I love the Magnum so much. And at first, when you look at Sebastian's clothing, you look at his badge, you look at his gun, and you look at this theme of keeping going back to that hospital, that asylum that looks like it's set in something like 1940s, I thought you were dead. I thought all along you were from the 40s and you were somehow experiencing whatever this was, maybe in your death throes, kind of like Jacob's Ladder in the asylum. You know, maybe you'd gone insane because of the death of your daughter and you just kind of died. You'd killed yourself or something. But as it turns out, the plot was a little bit more convoluted than that, in a good or bad way, depending on your perspective. And then we just have to do this puzzle. So this puzzle's kind of obvious. Essentially, if you do it wrong, you die. She did it wrong, she died, so you put it in on the facing side that has no blood. If you put it in with the bloody side, you will repeat her mistake. Whenever the camera pulls out like this, it means it's an opportunity for you to be killed. It's an interesting mechanic too, I kind of like it. And it's one of the strengths of this game. On my first playthrough, I thought the pacing was off a little bit. I thought Chapter 6 was far too long and far too difficult compared to the ones before it, and I thought the middle had a bit of a lull. But when I played it back through, having, you know, the knowledge of that first playthrough, I actually think the pacing is a lot better than I gave it credit for being. At any given moment, you're doing something new. Even though you visit older locations, you're going somewhere new. And you're coming across newer enemies at such a decent pace that it never feels like you're doing the same thing too much. And that is the sign of really good game design.
Doc, what the hell is going
A
on?
lot of the repetition you do come across is intentional, because it's part of the insanity, it's part of this descent into madness. And I think a lot of people are criticising this game based on its narrative framework. You know, the first 5 chapters, the plot doesn't make any sense because that's the point. You're meant to be baffled, you're meant to be confused, you're meant to be questioning things. And it would seem like there are a lot of people who prefer traditional storytelling, which I've always felt is kind of sad, because it doesn't have to be A, B, C happy ending, you know. We've been writing stories for many years. It's one of the things that is in our nature to story tell. And if we stopped the creative aspect of that and we stopped redefining what it means to be a story, I think it would be a very sad world we lived in. So hopefully those people will maybe mature a little bit in time and come to appreciate that storytelling can be unorthodox. It doesn't have to have a linear sequence. In fact, non-linearity is required now because we've done the linear thing for so many years. But thank you very much for watching. I hope the videos are helping, and you take care now.